Mac computers.
Yeah.
And then where it seemed like that little ball popping up was like the first real problem we ever had, you know?
The spinning ball.
Yeah, like we couldn't do anything. It was
Yeah.
like the first real thing at school that was like holding us back from doing something we wanted. So it was like the worst thing that could happen to us all day.
Yeah.
You ever think about that sometimes?
I think about that daily.
Well, yeah, I
because it
guess
happens
now-
still.
Now
Am I
I
good to
guess
move like here so this chair don't move?
Yeah.
Because I feel like the more I move, that chair squeaks.
Yeah, you're good.
But yeah, I guess now it's different because MacBook computers still exist and they're like waves better than they ever used to be.
Yes.
But now it's just like that spinny ball pops up and it doesn't feel like as big a deal, you know? Like it seems like it takes less time, I guess. Now.
Oh, nowadays?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like back then, you'd get the spinny ball and you'd sit there for 3 hours and nothing would happen. And you'd just be like, I guess this is my life now.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to power this down
Yeah, I have
and
to
start over.
buy a whole new computer now. Whereas like now when it happens, I feel like it's not as huge a deal.
Right. Well,
But seeing that it just made me think back to those old days where like Mac computers used to be blue and translucent.
yes.
And you could like see all the little parts and everything, and now they're more about being thin and sleek,
Yes.
and just you can't see anything that's going on inside.
Yes.
To the point where you don't even believe there's anything really inside there because it's so
Yeah.
thin and weightless. Essentially,
Yes.
I don't know. I'm feeling like I'm pretty obvious on how little I know about computers. The more I sit here and talk about them, because I don't know anything about what's inside of a computer. But
I mean, I think you can take a
either.
pretty good guess.
yeah. It's like parts and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing too
Just
complicated.
things.
Just to keep it running.
They pay other people to know that stuff. They
Yeah.
Don't pay me to know that stuff.
Right.
Who's this they that everybody's talking about when they say stuff like
Right.
that? You know
Who
what
is
I mean?
that?
Who is they?
High power.
That's what they want. They want you to think that, or that's what
Who
they
is
want.
they?
It's
They
it's
who
whoever.
want them to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe we'd all be a little happier if we figured out who they was, because it seems like we're always mad at they, right?
I think that's the point. We can never actually pinpoint
Yeah.
it, so it's easy to be mad at them.
They. No, we're gonna refer to them as they. That's how they prefer to be referred
All right.
to as is they. Well, anywho, welcome, Bobby. This is nice. We met
you,
that
thank you.
one day, but I don't think we've really ever talked or met aside from that day, that a couple of weeks back
Yeah.
when I was in here.
Yeah.
So it's nice to meet you. I feel like we're gonna have a good time getting to know each other on this podcast today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, that being said, I am going to bring up things that I know about you that'll be weird, but they're things Andy told me. I'm not like a weirdo that just
All right,
happens to
fair
know
enough.
things
Yeah,
about
yeah,
you. I don't want to freak you
sure.
out or anything. So, one thing Andy did tell me, and I would like to start off with this because this is very exciting, and I want to say congratulations. He told you just recently had twins.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
2 identical baby boys.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about what that's been like, and maybe
Nuts.
did it exceed your expectations, or can you really plan for something like this? I guess how it's
No,
gonna go.
you can't plan for it. You can't plan. I thought I was ready. I thought it was just gonna be easy, and because I just had a daughter too about a year and a half ago, so
Okay.
that was my first, and it wasn't as hard as people, make it out to be,
Sure.
but 2 of them plus her now is that's hell.
Oh yeah.
If I could say it,
Mm-hmm.
honestly.
Yeah.
It is, but it's actually worth it though, like every moment is worth it. It's all the long nights and no sleep, and it's worth it. The time you get to spend with them, and I'm blessed the position I'm in to be able to spend a little more time there with them when they're that small, because I know for a lot of people that just blows by.
Right.
So I'm blessed in that area.
Was it what everybody says it is, like the cliche where you see them, and the moment you see them, you just feel this what's the word I'm thinking of? I can't think of the word right now, but there's like this crazy
Just like
amount
a
of
super connection.
Yeah, this connection, like this
absolutely.
unconditional
Right
love.
away.
That's the word.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unconditional love.
Yeah.
Right away. I mean, just seeing them for the first time, because I don't know, my girl she's amazing. She just carried them right through like it was nothing, and you can only imagine what that is for a
Yeah.
female. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like how much that really is on your body, on your mental, on everything. So you got to stand by them. But like, man, I appreciate everything she did, and then you know I would talk to him here and there in her belly, and you know try to warm it up, and you get those feelings again, and but then when you see him, yeah, for the first time, it's like love at first sight type of holy, like, whoa, they're here, they're healthy, you know, like everything's good. So yeah, it is.
Do you find yourself like, I mean, because you said they're identical twins.
Yep.
Do you find that maybe someday you're gonna try and send them, you know, send one to school one day, send the other to school the next day, you know, just keep one at home, keep one at school, you know, like send them off to do different things, like
no,
not
silly
so
stuff
much,
like
but
that.
I
think of like, you know, switching them on people and like playing games on, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to test people, you know, their mom especially, you know, I always mess with her.
Yeah.
She's always calling them by the wrong names. I know only because of there's a little fold in my son Zion's ear, so he's got like this little tiny pinch fold. You only know if you really look, you know, and that's the only way I could tell them apart. Though, like now I'm starting to get to where I can kind of tell them apart. Just if you stare at them for a second, you can do that. Okay, you're Cohen, like, but you know, if you first glance, yeah, tell or grab Cohen. That's not Cohen. That's like, you know, so it gets to. But that's exciting, you know, just the, I don't know, it's just crazy. It's different.
Yeah.
It's just different experience.
Right. Yeah, I can only imagine, really. I've had a couple of friends of mine recently. They've had kids in the past few months or so, but just one. And that, you know, hearing them, they're like, "Oh, this changed our world entirely. You know, we don't sleep." It's all like basically saying the same stuff you are. You know, like it's a lot, but worth every second of it. Yep. And so, but you get double that.
Yeah.
I guess. Do you think, I mean, this might be a weird question to ask you because, you know, you had one and then you have two. I mean, how, I guess, different are those experiences in the moment where it's like, you know, with one child being birthed versus two, I mean, there's a whole different experience.
Well, we wanted
one more.
We wanted one more. We were like, all right, let's just try for one more. Or if it happens, it happens type of thing. And not knowing she had twins in her family, I have twins in my family, and that's how they say, you know, it's pretty, it's not that rare that it can happen, you know, so we just didn't pay attention to none of that, but she ended up having, it was when she told me, I really tripped out, like she was, I think I was standing at home actually I just got home and she called me because I had to work or something, I was doing something and she called and she was like, yeah, so I am pregnant, and there's two of them, and you're like, wait, what? You know, like, two of what? Two balls, like it's a boy, like, you know what I mean? Like two what? Yeah. And two dads, two kids. So I asked for one, you know, I wanted a son. And then, bam, you get hit with two, and it is a different feeling. Like, at first, you know, you're just, for me, it was just shock. I had to take a shot of Hennessy, calm me down a little bit. But, you know, it was a shock, but started thinking about it like, man, we wanted it that close, and I guess two's better than one. Right. So, you know, any way you look at it.
Yeah.
So it's just the work, the daily work.
Hell yeah.
So I heard on a podcast maybe 2 years ago or so, it was, weirdly enough, Henry Winkler was the guest on the podcast, and the host's wife was about to have a child at the time they had recorded this, and they brought her in and had Henry Winkler give her some advice or whatever, and the piece of advice that he gave her, which for some reason stuck with me, even though I've never been pregnant and I've never like had a kid, but I don't know why it stuck with me. But it's something I've told like my friends who are, you know, about to have a baby, or someone I might know who's pregnant, where they say everything that you need to know is already in there. You just have to figure out like what that is. Do you think like after you had kids, you know, obviously you probably take some classes, you read some books, you figure some things out, but like you gotta experience it really.
It's all experience.
Yeah.
It's all experience.
Do you find that advice to sort of ring true then, maybe?
Yeah. It's everything is like.
It's on the job training.
Yeah, man. Like, it really is.
That's a great way of putting it.
Like,
Yeah.
I swear, it really is. You think you could be prepared and you could be ready, but you're not. Like, there's so many little things just with two of them, to their connection. Like, think about their connection and them being right next to each other the whole time, and they tell you to separate them and then, not let them sleep by each other and do all that. We're doing the complete opposite, because I feel like, why would you want to separate them? Like, the closer they are, I feel like, I don't know, it's just how I am. There's just these things that you do, but like doing that, it brings for more things. One, you get one kind of leveled out and calm, and then the other one just kind of sparks up for a second, and you think that's going to be calm, and that takes another hour to get him down now, and now that he's down, he goes to the bathroom or something, and then now he's crying, and it's just back and forth and back and forth. There's literally no time to sleep. Like, you get almost that zombie feeling all the time, where you're just kind of like just in the mode, just going through the motions.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm at. I've been at for like a year now, just going through the motions, just trying to make it work. And it's tough. It's definitely something you have to experience to know. You can't take nobody's advice on how to do things or how to prepare for things. You just have to prepare the best you can and hope for the best, I guess, and pray for, one's going to be leveled out and calm, and the other one could be crazy, or, just hope that one of them's all right, so you can get a little bit of rest. But, I don't know. It's still, though, it's still all worth it. In the end, it's still all worth it.
Right. Have you thought about the kind of, dad that you're going to be come like 5-10 years from now, when they start getting older? Because you hear the same cliche from people, like parents who have been parents for 5, 10, 15, 18, 20 years or whatever, where they kind of know and they try to tell you what to prepare for, like the terrible twos, or when they turn 12, 13, they're not going to want anything to do with you. Then maybe when they turn 18, 20, they start getting a little older, they kind of come back into your life a little bit. Are you kind of like mentally preparing yourself for those moments, like slowly here and there, even though they're still in this small infantile stage where they need to rely on you for everything?
I think that's just another thing that's experience, as you go. I don't think you can be a certain type of dad, or, I'm just me. I'm a good person. I feel like I have a lot of love in my heart. So I know, like, friends of mine who have grown up that don't experience the love of a father, you know what I mean? Like, or don't have that experience. They don't know what a father is. They don't, a dad might be in your life and present, but not hug you or tell you he loves you, or like do those things that some parents do and some parents don't. Some men just don't know how to do that. You know what I mean? Like, some men are just that closed off that they don't remember those or think about those things, like to make sure your kid knows you love them, by expressing it and saying it. Like, that's important, because how else are they gonna know? Like, so if you don't hug them or tell them they're good or something, they're never gonna know. So that's what I'm big on, and I'm big on making sure they know those things, that I got their back, that I'm here for them. Like, if they want to talk about something, they can be open. They don't got to hide nothing. I'm not going to judge them. I might feel some type of way in the moment. I might get pissed. I might get mad. I might yell at you. I might ground you or something, but I'm going to get over it, and I'm going to teach you what to do to fix that or not to do the next time. You know what I mean? So it's all like a learning process. I think it's just, you have good values instilled in you from your parents or the people that raised you, and if you can carry those on and put the bad things you've learned to the side and kind of teach around those, the good parts, and move those on to the kids the best you can, I think you'd be straight. You'd be a good parent, and because your kids, the other 50% of this, it ain't all on you. They're going to grow up to be them. So you can't put it all on you. Like, if they don't grow up to be this way, it's my fault. Nah, not if you put everything you got into it. Then you can really believe, no, it's 50-50. Like, it's up to them now. To prove what I've shown. And if I feel it in my heart that I did everything, shoot. I'm good. Like,
Right.
Yep.
it's on you, bro.
I've done all I can do. It's your turn now.
yeah, that's it.
Now, we don't have to spend too much time talking about this. We can come back to it here and there throughout, obviously. But one thing I am curious, I'll ask you this, and I have one more question, actually. The last one's a sillier one, but what has being a parent made you sort of realize about your time as a kid? And that maybe you think, has it made you look sort of come back to looking at the way you might have acted growing up, and how like either you might have been maybe a little more difficult than you might have remembered originally with your parents, or it might bring back certain memories where you're like, oh, maybe I could have been a little less bitchy or a little less cryy.
Definitely.
I do that. I
I'm
realize
sure
that all the time.
It's not exclusive to people who become new parents,
Yeah,
obviously, but
you just
it sort of comes with age. But
Yeah, you can just see kids out in the wild, out in public, acting a fool, and you're like, damn, I remember vaguely that I used to do that shit too.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
Yeah, I remember those days. They pop up. You look at your kids and they put you right back then. You know, it's so crazy to think about it too, because it literally seems like yesterday to us. You know, like when you think about stuff like that, like being a kid and being a teenager and just growing up. It literally seems like yesterday. Time just flies by.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy cow, that was just me. Like running around doing these crazy things, getting yelled at because I'm doing, like, not understanding why you're yelling at me. Like, what am I, just these things. And then you look at your kids and you catch yourself doing that. Like, man, I remember that.
Yeah, I do find myself with small flashbacks here and there, with my cousins all having kids, or just like friends of mine around my age all having kids, where I'm like, oh yeah, this was like 20 years ago. This wasn't that long ago where I was running around and causing a havoc and stressing my parents out beyond belief. Like,
absolutely.
But I also think it's a little bit different now. I mean, I do remember a time where like my parents, my aunts and uncles and parents, if it was me and my little cousins, so we were just talking about Michigan's Adventure earlier.
Yep.
Say we went to Michigan's Adventure, they'd be like, all right, we're here. Get the fuck out of here and go run around for a couple hours. We're going to go over here and chill. And now I feel like, you might not be able to do that as much. Or now it seems like kids don't maybe have that free reign to just run around the world like they used to, like maybe I'm wrong in saying that.
No, I think you're absolutely right. That's the weird part. Like you just I think that's a lot of it's just the way the world is now, technology and things got everybody so sucked in, and my kids can't go to sleep without the kids or the TV on, and it's like I never went to sleep with the TV on. Like as a kid, my parents were like, "Nah, turn that off. Like you're going to sleep." And
falling asleep with our thoughts.
Yeah, just things like that. And then, us going outside and playing. We didn't have none of this stuff that they have nowadays to keep us indoors. Like, if we did, I'm sure we would have been indoors too. Sitting there on our little iPhones and iPads and things like that. But we didn't have none of that, so it kind of pushed us out there.
Yeah.
But like I said, it just sucks because I do remember those things were important too, being able, it's socially important. You think about all these people that are just socially challenged nowadays, and it's like, how do they get like that? Because nobody's out doing things. Like everybody's in their phone and want to meet online and talk online and send a text message, and it's like nobody picks up the phone no more. It's sad to me. I don't know. It's scary. It's a scary thing to think about. Just because you wonder where it's gonna go from here. How deep it gets. Yeah, like that. I always wondered. 2 years ago, I didn't have kids. I'm 34. I've made it a long time without kids, and it was only because I just didn't know if I wanted kids. Like for the longest, I was just like, man, the way that things are and the way they're going, it's like scary bringing a kid into this world, knowing you're gonna leave them. Like you know what I mean? Like that's the scariest thing ever. Like you're gonna be here without me one day. Like what the? How do you process that? Like how does that? Like that's insane.
Yeah.
So to bring a person onto this earth and know that one day you cannot protect them is like the scariest thing ever. If I don't know if you ever thought about it like that, but like I do
about it all the time. Actually,
man, it's like wow.
Yeah,
it's that it's no sense of control thing. Like you know what I mean? Like and do I want to do that? But then I just started thinking like I'm getting too old for this shit. I got to do something now if I'm going to do it. So
Yep.
Right.
I did it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I a little overdid it, but
Yeah, but I think you could say overdid it, but I think, now if you have 3 now, I mean, that's,
well, technically I got 4 because my girl has one too. She's a
Oh, okay.
10-year-old, so.
But yeah, I mean, because now you think about it, I mean, what, 18, 20 years from now, you raised, 4 kids. I mean, that's
Right.
pretty much the dream, really, isn't it?
And
I would
is.
think, yeah.
Yep, I agree. I agree. That's important too. To me it is. Like just with the way my life has gone so far, the career choices and things that I've done has all led to this. And I think at some point in the back of my mind, even then, I knew I wanted this over everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that family and building a family and having a good job and, just all that.
Yeah.
And
Do you think it grounds you in the way that
Absolutely.
people say it does?
Yep.
Or like the thing I hear all the time, which I at first when I would hear it a lot, is I'd find it a little bit insulting. But now I think I get it. The more I hear other people say it, that are my friends that have children,
Yeah.
where they say, "Oh, it's the best thing that'll ever happen to you," and I'm like, in my head when I was 18, 19, 20, and friends of mine are having kids, I'm like, yo, my life's pretty awesome right now. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is the best thing that'll happen to me.
Yeah.
Like, I got a whole life to live. What do you mean? And now I'm seeing my friends and I'm seeing it in action. And I'm like, okay, I understand
all
this.
age,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
age,
Yeah.
and as you get older, I didn't like. It just flashed by for me. I think everything that I went through was such a fast-paced lifestyle that like I was so stuck in the moment. By the time I am 32, I'm looking back like, okay, that was fun,
Right.
like, but now what? And now that's kind of where it snapped, and I was like, I think I'm supposed to be here right now, like
Yeah.
it was a moment of like
Yeah.
clarity almost. I don't know.
Right.
It was just, but it's nuts the way things work out.
Right.
Right.
All right. So the other question I wanted to ask, and then we'll move on to a different thing. We'll probably weave, being a parent in here and there throughout the conversation. But what did you say their names were?
Zion and Cohen.
Where did you come up with the ideas for those names?
So Zion is my girl actually came up with Zion. I just liked it. I was like, that's a good name, strong name. We went through a million names, and like, I'm so picky. Like, I would sit there forever, and she'd go through tons of names, and it was almost like I was numb to that too. I was just hearing them, and and she'd never get a reaction from me, and she would just finally be like, "Are you listening to me?" And I'm, no, I am. They just don't stand. None stands out.
Right.
Nothing stands out. If it doesn't pop out to you, and that's it, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
give you that reaction. So like she would go through, and then finally one day she was like Zion. I was like, that's pretty. I like that one. That's pretty strong. I like that name.
Yeah.
And then Cohen is the funnier one because she said it again. Like she brought that one up again. She said, "What about Cohen?" And I love that name just because I watched this show. I don't know if I want to admit to this
Yes,
to
you
anyone
do.
else, but I told a few people this. But I watched the OC. I don't know if you know what the OC
Oh,
is.
I watched that.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
I
No
watched
judgment
that back in the
coming
day.
All right, no
from us.
judgment there?
OC
Okay,
was
cool.
the best.
I love
show.
that damn show.
Yeah.
and so
no
Cohen,
judgment. Yeah.
the Cohen family or whatever. But,
Uh-huh.
I just heard the name Cohen. I just always liked it. So
Yeah.
when she said it, I was like, Zion and Cohen. I like it. Kind of goes together good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm always curious about that. Just it's there's a conversation that's had at some point, like, what are we going to name this thing?
Yeah.
And you hear so many different stories. I think at a time when like kids, the years I was, early '90s, late '80s, like when we're all born, it's like it tends to be a little more like biblically place. I think like my parents got my name from a religious backing. Like that's what the meaning of my name is to them, I think. And probably several other people right around that decade or in that time. But I think now you're seeing a little trend in names where like everything is so different and out there and you have to be original. There's like so many new names that just come out are original now. And I think people are trying to set themselves apart. Maybe
I got my daughter's name from I'm trying to think of the movie now. It's an Adam Sandler movie, Big Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her name's Layla. So the girl he was dating.
Yeah,
after,
yeah.
So, I just heard that name,
nice.
and she was going through them again, and she said Layla. I was like, there it is.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
It hits you, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Well, I kind of want to like segue into the music side of things with names. So your performer name was Elevate, right?
Yes, sir.
Where did you come up with that?
Okay, so it's a funny story actually, because a lot of people like come up, they're super creative with their names, and they have this huge backstory of how they got their name, and I don't. I was sitting in my aunt's apartment, I think, randomly, and I was on the computer, and I used to get on these rap forums online, and I hopped on and I logged in, and I was like, well, I need a name. And so I looked down on my shirt, and I had an And One shirt on, and it said Elevate on it. So I was like, that's kind of cool. So
Nice.
I put Elevate in, and I stuck with Elevate, and that was when I was like young, before I even like touched a mic or anything like that. And I was just literally, we would go on these forums and battle each other with words, like back and forth with people online. And
That's
yeah,
interesting.
and it got me started. Like that's what literally got me started in music. Like making music was battling kids, and then like it got to where a .com site back then was so like crazy, like big. Like if you were part of a .com site, or you were like, you knew the owner of one or something, it was just big back then. So I got on a couple of these forums that were .com sites, and yeah, you'd be like well known very quickly if you were in there battling people and winning, and they'd have all types of prizes, but it was all words. Like it was all just writing, and it was pretty cool. But it kind of pushed me into making music. That's what literally started it.
That's
those
crazy.
things, yeah.
I didn't know that was the thing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Nice. So if you're going from forums to having actual music, or the process of maybe working on songs, like where did that begin?
It's all in the same, because like the forums started as that, but then they became it was kind of crazy to watch it, just the evolution of how music was produced, like how it became like this. It was this thing where you could only go to the studio and you could record in a studio, but then it became this thing that was just in your hands. Like you could just make your own stuff, and people just got creative on how they did. I remember I started on a computer microphone, like a computer mic and a Acid Pro or something. I don't know if I remember correctly was the program.
That sounds.
And I literally, it was just that. You'd drag a beat in, you'd rap over it with your little microphone, and you'd mix it together, and it was, that was it. Like, it was right in your hands, though, just like that, So on the websites, as they started to, like, realize that stuff, you would hear more audio. So people would start posting their audios now, and now they had a section for audio battles, and now you started getting in audio battles and setting up your battles, and now there would be like pre-recorded stuff. You'd record your 16 bars and what you wanted to say to the person and upload it after at the same time. I think we had to do it at the same time, and then people would go through and give the feedback and judge, and then there'd be a winner and belts and all this stuff. Like, it just took you through the whole process. Like, I was a champ for the longest. Like, I was pretty damn good. Like, I was at first. That's what pushed me too, is like, at the beginning I got such good feedback. Like everything I always did, people were like, "Damn, you're good," and I had no idea. It was just something I just did on the side. It was just fun.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, and just pushed me into then recording, and that's where it kind of morphed to something real, like the feeling of like, could I like do something with this? I don't know, like, who knows? Back then it wasn't that crazy to think that, you know what I mean? Shit, there wasn't that many rappers and successful rappers, and like it is now. I think the music industry, hip hop, is so watered down. It's ridiculous, like how many artists there are out there now. You never know who's an artist. I always make a joke, like, you could literally walk into a West Side liquor store and on a busy night and scream out who's a rapper in here, and half the store would raise their hand. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and it's
with
facts.
With
like,
their SoundCloud link ready to go.
yeah, ready to
Yeah.
go, man.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. And that's not saying that with any judgment. I could
Not
I
at
could feel
all.
someone listening and feeling
No,
like
no.
there was some
I-
judgment
hey,
with
man,
that. I
trust
get
me.
it.
Like,
yeah.
I
I've
get
got
it.
my Bandcamp links ready in my head to go for
Yup.
sure. I can tell you where our Spotify's are at
Yep.
like that.
It's just crazy though that now it's like that is all I mean. Like
for
it
sure.
never
Right.
used to be like that. So thinking I could maybe do something with it was not far off, I guess. So it was that, and then my growing up, I think I entered my school talent show. I did my first talent show, and I rapped a song, and I fucking won the shit. And it was funny because like I always wanted to go all out. So there was a dance crew that my friend was actually the main part of. Is called 616 Technique. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're from here, Grand Rapids. They're like a b-boy squad, and they travel the country doing shows, and they're very successful now. They got a lot of dance studios all over the place, and
Nice.
they're big. But back then we were all fresh, young kids, and so I got them to be like my backup dancers. And so I had this whole performance of a song. They came out doing flips behind me and doing crazy stuff. And like I
Damn.
put on a whole show. Like,
Yeah.
and
Hell
then
yeah.
I ended up winning it. And that really pushed me. Like that one was like, dang, because the whole school after that was like, like I was the rapper of the school.
All
It was
right.
weird. It was, and you always seen like, in school it was funny because I never, all the time doing all those battles and battling people and stuff like that, I got shy at school. Like I'd see kids battling each other and stuff, and I never stepped up and battled people like at school. I just always got shy. I don't know why. I just did.
That kind of like piggybacks off of what you're talking about, how we're all talking over the internet and everything, and we're not going out and doing things.
Yeah. Same shit.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it kind of reminds me of I imagine you guys have seen the movie Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of how he practices those dance moves in his room. Like,
Yeah.
by
Yeah,
himself. And then like Pedro has to give this big speech, so he goes out there and he does his big dance routine, and then the whole school immediately like loses their shit and just immediately loves it.
That's exactly what it felt.
It very much reminds me of that scenario.
I swear to God, it was just like that. We did. I did that, and then I think the next year, I did it again, and I came in second. I think that year somebody beat me out, but I came in second that year. Did another big performance and stuff like, and that it was funny too because like a lot of people came to see that. Like the first year I won it, and there wasn't as many people. Like it was packed, but it wasn't as many people as the second one. The second one, I think they were just there to see if I could do it again.
Right.
And then ended up doing second, but it still just pushed me to that's what I wanted to do. Like I knew then I was like, I'm gonna do this. Like my dad was always skeptical. Like my mom always mocked me. Like she used to call me a wannabe Eminem and like this whole thing. Like it was, but it is what it is. I love my mom, but she definitely did not push me to be a rapper. And my dad, he just kind of stood back and hoped for the best. My dad's like a great dad. He's the reason I'm a loving, caring person and things like that. But he's always kind of let me do my thing, and he's never judged. It's just like, okay, I hope you can do this type of attitude, And I always showed him like that was my thing, was to prove to him that this could possibly work out. Like this could be a thing. Watch, I promise, I'll make this work. And that was always like the motivation to keep going.
Right,
Yeah.
because you knew you can do it within yourself, but it's more important, at least maybe at the time, to prove it to him, right?
Yeah, because the normal thing was to just go to school, go to college, go get a job, and that's what all my friends did. That's what all my friends did. But looking back now, that didn't do nothing for them. Half the people that got degrees in what they got don't do what they, you know what I mean? Like they put all this time and effort into something that they didn't want to do.
Definitely.
While I'm over here living life. Like I really felt like I lived, and I did.
Yeah.
I did a lot of stuff, man. Like that's why I say everything flew by, because I did so much, like with the music, I don't know, a lot of the stuff I did just kept, I would say going back to like the coming out of high school was like the local celebrity time. Like that was when I just blew up as a local celebrity, because I had this idea I was like, I want to get on the radio. And like, I knew there was some local artists that would be on the radio, and I'd hear, you know, just these, it was very seldom, you know, you don't hear a lot of local artists on mainstream radio stations. You just didn't. And there,
Right.
you know, SNX was our number one radio station, you know, 80 plus thousand listeners a night. And like, it was like the station to listen to, you know, they were the party station of the city. They were everywhere out in the city partying 7 nights a week.
I grew up in Ravenna, and you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that wasn't probably listening to WSNX back then.
Yeah.
And we aren't necessarily a big party, you know, get down pop music kind of hip hop kind of city, but
Right.
it was definitely one of the more popular stations out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to speak for Ravenna, I guess, but anyway, sorry.
No, but
Continue.
so being in it was just weird. Like being here next to it, I thought, you know, I used to deliver pizzas. Like I would deliver pizzas and listen to the Freak Show at night, and I'd just be like, I want to be a part of that so bad. Like I remember thinking that, like, man, I'm gonna be on that damn show. Like somehow, some way, I'm gonna get down there. And I just remember thinking, like, it just seems like this cool freaking experience. And one night, I just thought, I'm gonna make them a theme song. You know, I'm just gonna throw them a theme song and see if they play it. So I did, and he was like, dude, I love it. He was like, Holmes did. He was like, bro, this is dope. I can't switch it, because they had, back at the time, they had their original opening theme song to their show and stuff. And he was like, but I could play this at the end of the show every night to close out the show. And I was like, okay. Being young, I'm like, what? You're going to play my song every night? I don't care what time you play it. Like, what? So I literally, he put me on, and it literally jump-started my career right there. Like, just that morphed into me becoming a radio personality on the Freak Show, becoming, like, doing my own set on SNX on Sundays. I did my own little show for a little bit. I took off to Hawaii. I moved out there for a year because I had an investor that just liked my music, and he was like, I'll bring you out there. We could kind of try to push it out there and do this. That's a long, long, long story and a very entertaining one. But needless to say, like, I came back because I wanted to do that on my own. I was like, nah, this isn't for me. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, a lot out there.
Yeah.
But it just, like, it wasn't the time. It wasn't the right people around me, and you know, but like, just doing all these things that I don't know, man. It literally put me on another level here locally. So when I came back from Hawaii, I jumped back into the bars and doing remotes with SNX and doing all these things that literally just put me on that level of, like, local celebrity status. And I'd be in clubs, never walked and paid for, you know, I'd never wait in line. I'd always walk through the line, and I remember just people hating on me back then, like, so hard. Like, who is this guy? I was the only one in the 6 nightclub wearing a hat because my hairline started to fucking, fall back. So I was wearing a hat. I didn't want to go to the club without a hat. So, like, I'd always just walk in, hat cocked to the side, and the owners of the club would even be pissed. Like, they'd be like, why is this kid in here wearing a fucking hat? But I'd have the mic in my hand, and I'd be the MC, and I just felt cool. I don't know. It was just, it literally made me keep going. Like, all this, the attention and all this stuff, and being young, you want that. You wanted that attention, right? Like,
absolutely.
I used to fiend for that. Like, I was like, man, this is awesome. But what it was doing that I realized later on, like, I did a lot just to, like, shorten it up, though. Like, I mean, with music, I felt like it was so important to me. I loved music. I lived and breathed it for the longest. My brother was, I call him my brother. He was like my best friend growing up, was like my number one fan. He pushed me to just keep going and keep going and keep doing these things. And I got opportunity after opportunity. He was standing by my side, and then he ended up passing away. And I think that's what kind of flipped my life upside down. It was like, his name was Ricky. Actually, he's the one outside on this booth. If you remember coming in, that picture there. He was like, literally, when I say my number one fan, he was my number one fan. He everything I did, he was there. He would always push me to keep going. And like I said, when he passed, it was like, I don't know, it was like something just got taken from that part of you. Like, the music was still there, but the motivation to want it was gone. And it was like I did everything that I wanted to do with it. You know, I opened for some crazy artists, man. I've opened up for Sean Kingston and Flo Rida and Justin Bieber and, you know, like big names. And I've touched the stages that, like, people just are like, well, how did you, you know, and I didn't even know how I was doing it. It was all Holmes and that, like, hooking me up with these opportunities that I knew nothing about, you know, like, I didn't have somebody there to be like, yo, capitalize on this. Get you a videographer, get you some footage and do this and do that and, like, manage it. And I didn't have none of that. So, like, everything that I did was like, how is he doing this? And then I got to that level where I experienced it and it was like, I don't want this. This isn't where I want to be. Like, I love it. It's fun. Music's great. Like, I'm good at it. I get a lot of, I think I'm in GR on SNX. I think I was like the number 1 or number 2 most spun artist on SNX, period, forever. Like, you could go back and look at the plays and spins I've had locally. I don't think there's many other artists that have had it. And so, like, to me, that was like my pinnacle. That was like my moment of like, all right, I'm cool. Like, I don't need to do nothing else. I don't think that I could handle going on a tour and doing this every night and going from city to city and no way, man. Right. Like, no way. So I think that's kind of like where music stopped for me.
You hit your high, and you didn't want to go any higher than that.
That was it. Like, it was just like, I think I'm good. Like I said, I'm good. I don't think I need to do anything else. I think I want to be in the industry. I just don't know how yet. Right. You know, like, I don't know how. I want to stay here and I want to do something, but it's not this. It's not this. Like, it's not. This ain't for me. Right.
And I mean, it's definitely not for everybody. I mean, I hear tons of stories of people that get, like, they live, you know, 5, 10, 15 years of their life doing music, and all they ever wanted to do was tour and be a national artist, and then they get, like, even a taste of it, or even they get to where they want to be, and they're just like, yeah, no, this isn't for me. You know, like, that's more common than most people probably think.
Yeah, I've toured. Like, I've went on mini tours, not like toured, but like, you know, I've went on mini tours with people, and I've seen that life too. And that's not what scared me. It was more the effect of, like, the success and having people approach you. Like, that was what scared me, because my anxiety would go through the roof. Like, I can't, if you get 100 people surrounding you and you're, you know, you can't move or do things. When I opened up for Justin Bieber was when it did it for me, like, the experience wise, because I did that and I walked up and I tried to go to the bathroom, and we were on a field, so on a baseball diamond, so you couldn't go up to the stands. I mean, there was no bathroom, like, backstage or nothing. You had to go up to the stands and to the regular bathroom if you wanted to use the bathroom.
Oh, shit.
Otherwise, like, like, I mean, I'm sure, like, the main acts had their suites and stuff, but yeah, we just had to use the regular bathroom. So I got done with my performance and went up to use it with me and my girl at the time, and got swarmed, and I mean swarmed. Like, I've never been swarmed. And this was literally just after my performance. I walk up the steps, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I could not go to the bathroom. Like, I didn't make it. I made it probably halfway there, got up there, and had to take like 30 pictures before I was like, okay, I need to go somewhere else. And I literally just dipped out. I dipped out, took her and ran down the steps and went right backstage. And I was like, holy hell. No way. That's it. I'm done. I'm done with that. No way. I don't want that. I'd freak out. But I mean, I guess not then was I thinking that. Like, I was just very, like, get me out of this situation. Yeah. But, like, now looking back, that's just not, I think that was, you know, that time saying, hold on. You could never deal with this on a daily basis. Are you crazy? So.
I have several questions. And I'm going to try and remember all of them. I'm going to do my best to try to remember all of them. But I want to pull it back just a little bit to ask you one question about the talent show. So way back for this. Now, from what I'm getting from you, from what you're saying, is like the first time you did this talent show, it's not like you weren't taking it seriously, but it was more about I need to do one performance where I go all out. This is my opportunity. I'm going to do this. Just see how it goes, kind of thing. And then that experience, maybe that was solidified what you decided. Oh, this is something I want to pursue now. Do you think if you had gone into it with maybe a more like a higher expectation, I guess, like, because it seems like maybe you went in with a little bit lower expectations, like you weren't putting yourself way up just to maybe disappoint yourself in the long run, you know? Do you think if you went in with a higher expectation that the result would have maybe been the same or it would have been different?
I don't, only because later on, like when I was comfortable in music and doing good and like getting all these opportunities and feeling like everything was right, there was times when I would just be like, this just isn't like, it's not what, man, that's tough. That's like I had a way to say it, but, okay, say your question again.
Okay, I guess what I'm really kind of getting at
thinking specifically
is like, do you think the outcome would have been different if maybe you had gone into it like with meticulously planning every aspect of it and trying to shoot for the stars rather than trying to maybe just do something, you know?
No, I don't know. Like, I don't know, really. I guess you can't really say yes or no to that because maybe.
Because, I mean, it turned out the way it turned out, and we'll never really know that outcome, so what's the point in really questioning it, I guess. But
right.
At the same time, like, I feel like just that, like, keeping yourself at that low expectation was the best thing you maybe could have done, you know?
Yeah.
Because then it set yourself up to have this amazing performance where you end up winning it. You find this motivation now. You want to pursue this a little bit, you know? Just something I was curious about.
No, that's true. I get, yeah.
Moment.
That's just a tough question to actually pinpoint because I don't know. That's a good question. I don't.
Now, you said two words that really kind of stuck with me. It made me think a little bit. You said "wannabe Eminem."
Yeah.
Is something that I think you said
My mom called
you.
That.
Oh, your mom called you "wannabe Eminem." Like, what year is it when you're finally kind of getting your footing in the rap game and you're sort of?
It was like 2009.
Okay, so Eminem was been popular for a little while at least, but because I have to imagine, you know, growing up did you grow up around Grand Rapids? So kind of growing up out here, I mean, being a white rapper has its cliches, has its stereotypes, I guess. What were you trying to do to set yourself apart so that people didn't just look at you as another, you know, wannabe Eminem?
I was always just me. Like, that was the thing with me. I was a storyteller. So, like, all my music, I all had a story or something I was talking or a topic that you stick to the whole time. You know, people used to tell me that you don't make songs or tracks. You make music. Like, you make songs that are, I guess, songs. That's what you make. You know, the ones that have a point and have something that they're saying behind it and the lyrics are there. And, yeah, it's just, it has the imagery to it, you know, like you could put a video together to that in your head because you know exactly what he's saying or that was always what I wanted. No matter what I talked about and no matter what I did, I always said something, you know, like
always had a message.
Yeah, always. And it could be a funny message, it could be a stupid message, it could whatever it was, but it always, I was saying something and you had to listen. Yeah. You know, so like I don't think there was really a way to set yourself apart because obviously you're a white rapper. People are going to call you Eminem or a wannabe Eminem or here we go again. Like, okay, like, I guess you can say that it's a color thing or it's a this or no, it's not. It's just the love for music and you know, but it was what it was. Yeah. I mean,
something you kind of like had to learn to brush off to the side and really just not let it bother you. I suppose.
Always. Yeah. I think when my mom called me that, it was really easy to brush off. Like when like seriously, when she called, like
what does she really know?
Now, you know, my mom's never been real. You know, she's a great mom. She was raised me right. You know, she just had her own issues and had her own, you know, had her moments. So she would be yelling at me, you know, angry, and she'd say some things she probably regretted. But I always like made sure later in life she remembered that because I was like. remember when you used to call me a wannabe Eminem? And like, nah, look, I own a studio. You know what I mean? Like,
Which that brings me to my next question that I was going to ask. You know, your mom, you know, calling you wannabe Eminem. Your dad kind of encouraging you, but being realistic maybe at the same time.
Yep.
When you reached the level of success that you reached, I mean, what did that do for not only like your confidence, but within yourself and your abilities within the industry and be able to do those things, but also your confidence to sort of be able to look your parents in the eye and say, yeah, I made something of myself, and this is something you were not so sure about, but here I am doing this. Like, where not necessarily to like be like, hi, I showed you, you know, but more so like, hey, I'm capable of doing this. Like, what did that mean for you?
So the biggest part was just my dad. Like, my dad he was always the one I worried that I had to impress, you know, like it's my dad. Like, I got to make sure he knows, like, I'll be good doing this, you know, like I know he don't see it the way I see it, but being a kid in our generation and like the way I grew up and the fast paced lifestyles that I lived in, like I was a lot different than my dad. You know, my dad lived a very simple life, you know, like, and he liked what he liked, and the way that, you know, even technology like it was not being around and stuff, he lived a totally different life than I live, you know? So I understood why he didn't see what I was seeing or what I wanted to do. I told him when I graduated high school, I was like, I'm only graduating because of you. Like, I'd walk away from this right now and not care and never look back. Like, I don't need a piece of paper from a school telling me that I can't be successful. You know what I mean? Because I don't have your stamp of approval. Like, and that's what I really look at it like. And I'm not. I would never tell that to my kids or, you know, steer them the wrong way. I understand that education is important, but it's when you know you've reached where you think you need to be at with that education, and maybe you need to take your education somewhere else. You know what I mean? Then that's fair in any way. I believe so. Like, I told him, like, I'm just gonna graduate and get this diploma because I just want to say to you, like, here's my diploma, Dad, there you go. But know that I'm not going to college. I'm not gonna go on to do these things. I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. Like, that's what I'm gonna do. Somehow, some way, I'm going to do that. And I pre-warned him. You know what I mean? Like, early in life. And he, you know, I don't know if he took it serious or not. I don't know if he took it serious, but I just knew. I knew that I wasn't going to be doing something of the average. Like, you know, I just wouldn't. There was something more I wanted. And so, again, impressing him was like my main focus. So, like, looking at it now, like, he came in here and he painted a lot of what you see in here. Like, he helped me paint the walls, and he painted the gold things above the windows, and like, he just did a bunch of stuff for me. And I think he enjoys it too, coming in thinking that, like, this is my son's business, and it gives you a better feeling, like me, I should say, like a feeling of like, damn, yeah, like, this feels good. It feels good for you to walk into somewhere and see it's still going. It's still, and it's getting better, and it's getting bigger, and it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's progressing. So, like, it's not like, haha. To my mom, it's kind of like, haha. Like, it's like, haha. Want to be Eminem? Yeah, well, you did karaoke. Come stand in my, you know, I got a sound booth too. You know what I mean? Like come pop in here and do a karaoke song. You know, and it's just that thing. It's like, but I have fun with that. You know, that's just, I know she didn't mean it the way she meant it. She wanted the best for me. You know what I mean? She wouldn't have said that if she didn't want me to get on the track that she wanted me to get on, which was just doing what she thought was the right thing. Right. You know what I mean? So can't be mad at her. I just look back and laugh at it like, wow, that actually like made me go somewhere. Like that actually powered me through it, you know? So for her it's more of that. But
do you think that when your children grow up to that age where they start deciding what they want to do with their lives, that'll kind of give you a different perspective as if like what your parents kind of saw? Like, but I think I'm gonna do it a lot like my dad did it. You know, sit back and just kind of let you do your thing and tell you what I think. I'll give you my opinion. You know, like, I'll tell you how I feel about it. And hey, it might not be the best thing you're doing, but you know, prove me wrong. You know, but until then, I'm gonna probably
let you know that it's not the best. You know, I don't think this is gonna work out. You know, like, but hey, if you believe in it, try it. You know, it's just what it is. I think that's people need to learn things themselves.
Yeah.
No one else can tell you.
And I mean, at the same token, like, you know, if you didn't have your parents kind of giving you that doubt in a way, do you think that would have gave you enough fuel to like try and prove them wrong in a way?
If they just believed it, like if they just would have went with everything a little more, I don't think I would have had like the motivation though.
Yeah.
To push. No.
Yeah.
Like because that is what it is. It's you want to prove people wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of it too though was people around me. Like it took me a long time, and I guess you know just from me expressing it to you that finding a team was like the hardest thing ever. Like a real team, like people that fall in place and know what they're doing, and y'all got the same plan, and nobody's trying to outshine each other, and it, you know, just a team that works together. And I always had people, I would give people opportunities left and right. It wasn't just me going through these things that I was going through. There was a 5 or 6 people behind me that I was trying to pull up with me. And that my dad always said that was like my downfall, is that I always try to take care of others before I was trying to take care of myself. And it's like, how can you put others on and you're not on?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was the toughest part for me, because I was like, damn, you're right. Like, so it took me a while to kind of realize it's the people you surround yourself with. You know,
Absolutely.
you won't be successful if you don't have people that want to be successful with you. Like all the people that I tried to put on wanted to like keep depending on me. It's like, dude, I put you on the radio. Go do something with it. I don't know what to do with it.
Right.
You're on the radio now. Go do something with it. Like,
One thing that I've heard that resonates with me a lot is you're a combination of the 5 most people you spend the most time with.
oh yeah.
And that, like, I thought about that so many times, and it just, like, hit me so hard every time. I'm like, my God, that makes so much damn sense.
Bro, I went through a lot of stuff. I was going through, I'll tell you a quick mini story of like some of the stuff I did go through. In music, it brings you through places, man, like through some crazy places, like hanging out with people you shouldn't be hanging out with, doing things you shouldn't do, like, and you make it out, some don't. But I was able to make it out of these situations, and like this one was just one that kind of again flipped my life upside down. Like I was living with a friend of mine who we made music all the time together, best friend. Like every night I had my home studio. I was in my booth. I was making music, and we were making music. We'd get a little fifth, turn up, you know, and make some hits. And it was literally, he was like, we would make the best music. And so, long story short, he was a hustler. You know, he was more of the hustler. He was, you know, he didn't go to work. He hustled and did whatever he did. He was my roommate, though. I got us a place and let him stay there. And, you know, it was a lot that went into it, but we were best friends, you know, so I kind of took care of him in that sense of, yeah, come live with me. You can't get your own spot type thing. So I let him live there, and I always tell people, you know, don't shit where you eat, you know. So don't bring people around here though, man. Like, you know, don't, whatever you do is what you do, but go somewhere else to do what you do. You know, like so. And I always preach that. I did, because I knew, like, I'm not no street guy. Like I grew up in a nice home. I you know, like I didn't go through all that. So like to be around people that do that are in the streets and that do that kind of stuff, like you kind of just see the world. I was smart enough to stay on the outside of it, you know what I mean? And like watch and just, I was always like protective of my friends, you know what I mean? Like I was probably more about it than they were at times, you know what I mean? And this was one of those times when I was, because you know, it was late at night, and these guys came in to my house, and they robbed us. Okay, I'll just say this. They robbed us. They had AKs. One came in with an AK. The other came in with an AR. And, like, I was a little faded at the time, and I had just been in my booth. I was recording my own music, going back and forth in and out of my booth. And my dog was barking, and I heard him, you know, barking at the door. And my door was like broke. It was you could get in the basement if it was unlocked. Obviously, you could walk up, and then there was supposed to be another door where where our front door is, and you get your key access and stuff. Well, they were gonna fix it, and they didn't fix it. Well, the door kind of swung open a little bit, so I'm standing there, and I kind of come around the edge, and I look, and I see a barrel of a gun start poking through, and pushed open the door, and 2 seconds later, some guy standing there, and he's going, "Get on the fucking ground," and me being in the mode I was in, like. I had a lot of friends that have guns, okay? So, like, I'm staring at this guy, and I thought it was my friend. I literally was in this weird mental state, right? And I looked at him, and I go, "Tweez?" Like, I thought it was my friend, right?
Yeah.
My friend. And I was like, what the... And I kind of backed up, and he was like, "Get on the ground." And I was like... And at this point, he was already coming up the steps. So the gun's in my face. I'm backing up, and I remember... I'm 98% sure that I pushed the gun out of my face. Like, I even grabbed the barrel and, like, pushed it out of my face. That's how, like, crazily in the moment I was.
Right.
And I thought, I'm just going to walk away. Like, they didn't do nothing to me yet. Like, they didn't come up the stairs and, like, punch me and tie me up and do all this. They didn't do nothing. Like, they let me, they get up the stairs and they let me walk away. So I just started walking to the back of my apartment, and I got to my apartment was straight back. Like, it was my first little entry area where I had my studio and my little booth, and then my my living room, and then my dining area, and then it went down to a hallway where my 2 rooms split off. So it went straight back.
Yeah.
So I just started walking towards the room. I got to my dining room, and I thought, that's when it hit me. Like, everything hit me right at that moment. And I thought, that's not my friend. Like, that's somebody here to rob us. Like, and that is literally the moment it hit me. So I just kept walking because I thought, well, I'm still walking. They're not doing anything. They're just yelling at me. I'm going to keep walking. So I kept walking. I got all the way into his room, my roommate's room, where I woke him up and I said, "Get up. This something's going on." And he's got his family back here, his kids and this and that. And, like, he shoots up out of bed and he runs and I grab him and I pull him back. I'm like, "Look around the corner, dude." And he looks, and he's like, "Who's that?" And I go, "I don't know. You tell me." And you hear the guy go, "Get on the ground." And he runs out and gets on the ground. So I'm like, "Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Now I don't know what to do."
Yeah.
Like, now I don't know what to do because you just ran and got on the ground. Like, now what do I do? Like, so me being me and in the situation, I literally thought 2 things. His kids and stuff were back here. That crossed my mind for a second. But then I thought I could literally just run in my room, kick out the air conditioner, and jump out the window, and I'll be straight. I'm out. And I'll call the cops and get the cops here real quick and whatever. But my dog's here. And I was like, I'm not leaving Max. I'm not leaving Max, man. So I was like, whatever. So I literally just walked down the hallway, grabbed Max and my dog, and I sat at the kitchen table down in the chair, and I sat him with him between my legs. And I'm drunk. Like, I got liquid courage. Like, so much liquid courage right now that I'm not caring about nothing. And it literally, like, he will tell you, this person will tell you, he asked me that, like, later that night, how are you in that? And I was so like, I don't know. I was talking to these guys, like, egging them on almost, like, "Bro, the only difference between us is those guns. The only, like, in this crazy mindset." And I remember even one time the guy yelled at me, like, "Shut up, or I'll put a bullet in your head." And I'm like, okay, like, I'm like, not caring, right? So it took these guys literally, 10 minutes. They got what he needed. They were trying to go back in the back. I was like, "You're not going in the back room over my dead body. He'll go back there and get what you came for, because obviously he's going to give it to you." And I pointed out, obviously he's going to give it to you.
Right.
Like, and so he goes, "All right." So he literally lets him get up, go back in the back room. He comes back with the stuff, gives it to him. And I said, this was my excuse to get these people out of the house, was I said, my brothers and my sister and my brother-in-law are on their way. He's got his license to carry, so I don't know how this is going to work when he gets here. And that's all I said. And the guy, I remember this like it was yesterday. The guy grabbed, and he's wearing a tank top of all things to do this. And he grabs his shirt and he goes, "All right, we're on our way out." And I about laughed at him. Like, I was like, "Who are you talking to?" Like,
like he had a mic.
Like he had a mic on him? Yeah, like he's talking to us. He's like, "We're on our way out." And I'm thinking, these guys are clowns. Like,
Right.
these guys
Yeah.
are clowns. Like, these had to be people that came here before. You know what I mean? Like, thinking that. Like,
Yeah.
these are people that have been in this house before, you know? So, that was like probably one of the craziest moments of my life. Like, just being in that, because I've never been in a situation like that. I'm not,
Right.
you know, I don't get in a situation like that. I don't put myself in that position, you know? So, being that way and then seeing a person that's in that position all the time lay down like that was like, my mind was just blown, bro. Like, just blown. Like, the whole thing was just reversed. And I was like, you live this. Like, you live this, my guy, and I don't. Like, what
Yeah.
was that? Like, what? I gotta go. And, like, I left. I
Yeah.
killed my lease the next day. I got my own spot and, like, dipped out. And the moral of this entire story is that that's why I keep a small circle. Like, I don't have friends. I don't mingle with people. No longer do I, like, get close to people unless, you know, there's a point to doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if it's not my team or the people that are winning with me and eating with me and trying to, like, succeed with me, I don't want nothing to do with you. Literally nothing. And then you can call me a dick. You can say I'm shallow and all that. No, I've just been through too many things where I look back and I'm like, I should have never even been in that position.
Right.
Like, there was no reason for it other than people not caring about what I care about. You know what I mean? And the things
Right.
that I take serious or my points of view and it all boiled down to you just not bringing people where you freaking, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
If
he
you wouldn't
could have
have been-
got you killed and
Exactly.
himself and his family.
And it's like, thinking of things like that is like, that's where I'm like, man, I keep everything so tight knit.
Yeah.
My circle is so small. Like, I have 3 or 4 friends, real friends, you know?
Yeah.
And that's it. But I think that's why I'm here where I am too, because I've been able to concentrate on things like this. I've been able to, I mean, I think I've been in a little slump, you know, over the past year and a half, just because I think my focus is elsewhere, but it's coming back this way now. So it's like, I know things are moving and it's just great. Like, a great feeling to, I guess, be here now, you know, after all this shit. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, finally, man, like a little,
Relief.
like a little relief. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I found a great team. You and, you know, Dave and Stevie and all these guys that we have here at Vybe are like, heaven sent, man. Like, heaven sent. I swear.
Right.
It's just crazy.
Well, let's switch into that a little bit, because that's kind of how I wanted to end our chat here today. Not to say that we're on the way to finishing it, but we'll close out with this as a segment or so.
Sure.
But, you know, with the music, it kind of sounds like, you know, you're saying that you wanted to become an entrepreneur in some way.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like, you know, you got your high school diploma, but you are like an example of a person who saw bigger things for themselves outside of the traditional route, from what it seems like. And I think there's benefit to going to school for however many years, getting a degree and going to get whatever job, if you know your plan or whatever.
I say, not to cut you off, I just say, like, doctors, lawyers, things like that, like, where you need the schooling.
For sure.
And you know you need the schooling, by all means, go get the schooling, you know,
Right.
because you need that to be able to do that. So.
But there's so many jobs and professions out there that you learn 95% of it on the job,
Right.
and in getting on the job experience.
Right.
But now, transitioning that into your music career, you were able to accomplish things based on your own willingness to put the work in and put the time in.
Absolutely.
Fast forward to now, you own the studio, you have, you know, this is your thing that you are like the person for. Where do you think, like, how do you think you found your ability to be able to do this against the traditional path? You know, does that make sense? Like you're able to, you know, you didn't have to go to college, you didn't have to get a degree,
Sure.
but you've made a success out of yourself. And it kind of seems like people, when you're growing up, they sort of push you in that direction. Not necessarily you, but in a general sense. Yeah. They push you in that direction to go to school, go to college. But you're able to make a success out of yourself by taking a different route. What in your mind, as far as like through music, do you think got you to this point? Because you transitioned from music to the studio, so now you have this. Where do you think that skill set came into play for this?
I would say, like, I always tell people, man, I think a lot of it's just people don't understand what they're capable of. Like, what's really inside you, you know? You have to bring it out yourself. That's one thing. If you don't have the ability to do that, you're just gonna be lost. You know, it is what it is. I feel bad for you, you know, because you're amazing. You know, a person is amazing. Every person is amazing. They just have to be able to pull it out of themselves. But I always look at it like, man, I knew that there was ways to do things on my own. I knew that I didn't have to get a business degree because there was someone else getting a business degree, right? So eventually, if I needed to build a business, somebody's going to have a business degree that I can hire or that I can partner with or that I can do something with that can get me to that part. You know what I mean? That can help me with that part. I don't need to be that. Like, I don't in any way want to, I say real quick too before I forget. I always remembered, like, growing up too was a little different when I was younger, but like when we started to get the internet and Google and all this stuff where you could learn things on your own, and that's where it kind of flipped for me. That's what made me comfortable not going to college, because I could learn stuff on my own if I wanted to learn how to do it. Sure. Don't go to college, go to YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, YouTube University is what I call it. It's literally it's a whole school right in front of you, and it's free. You know, it's just what you want to learn and how badly do you want to learn it. That's what I always look at. Like, I didn't want to go to school and learn math and science and these things that, like, I appreciate them. Of course, we need them in some ways, but not the way that most of them are teaching us. Like, most of that stuff you never use in your lifetime, you know? So I just knew that there was ways to get there without having to do that, like put in all of that work, or go. I look at my sister, my younger sister, who's got like a $25,000 debt from school, and it's like, I don't have none of that. I don't have no credit card debts. I got a little credit card debt, but that's for another time. Yeah, but you know, I don't have none of that big stuff. You know, like, school was just one of those things. I was like, I am not going into debt for someone to tell me that I have to do this in life. Like, I'm not doing that. You know, so. And again, I don't want this to sound like I'm so against schooling. I'm not against school and education, well, like you said.
I think you can be pro school and pro choosing your own path, taking control of your own life.
I think it's just if you know you can do something. Yeah, you know, like, if you feel it in your heart, like, I can do this on my own, you can do it on your own. Like, there's nothing that you cannot do. You can have other people teach you along the way how to do certain things. Like, for instance, taxes. You know, I never was good with taxes. That's what I'm learning right now. It's how to write off my own stuff, how to do this, how to do that, because I never knew that stuff. I was always an employee, you know, like, I did them years forever too, until one day, that's, you know, I actually did trucking for like 8 years straight, where I was moving up. Started as a helper, then a driver, then a manager, and then, you know, I was moving up doing my thing, and then I was just, one day I said to myself, this ain't it. I'm gonna open a studio. I got enough saved, and I'm never looking back. And literally, I never looked back. Like, I did that. I quit my job, and I said, Joe, I quit. And I worked for another Joe at the time, actually. I was like, Joe, I quit. And he was like, what? He was like, I quit. I'm good. I quit. And he was like, quit playing with me, man. And I was like, no, I quit. I'm done. And I was like, I'm never coming back. I'm telling you this because I know I've came back a few times. I'm never coming back, ever. And he was like, okay. And I never went back. Ever since then, I have been on my own, doing my own thing, whether it was recording people's music, it was making beats, it was whatever I could to hustle with music. I was doing it. So, like, that's where it all started. I started a studio. I didn't. That one kind of shriveled out. I did another studio. That one was straight for a little while. Closed that one down. I started my next one, which was just before this one, over on Hall Street, and that was cool. But they just didn't let me do kind of what I wanted to with the building and stuff like that. Came here, and now I'm here. So, you know, it's back to what you were originally asking. It's a mindset. I really believe. You know, you have the ability to choose. You can go to college. You can do those things. If you feel that's what you need to do, you do it. I just felt different. I felt like I don't need that stamp of approval is what I always looked at it like I said. I don't need that. I don't need that for you to for me to be successful in what I want to do. There's plenty of people out here that don't have that stamp of approval. Yeah. And I don't want to sound narcissistic at all or nothing like that, but like I or like I'm comparing myself with Steve Jobs, for God's sakes, because I'm not. But I look at myself kind of like a Steve Jobs in a sense, like because I have a lot of ideas in this industry, in what I'm doing with my studio, with Vybe, with the bigger portion of Vybe, like other than the studio itself, like all these ideas that are just low hanging fruits. I'm trying to just grab at, you know what I mean? And I think for me in this time, it's hard because I want to do so much, but I can't. I have to focus on one thing. But being in this position, it's taught me this is where I have to learn to delegate, to open up, to teach people that, like, the team that I have, I want to go the same route I want to go. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want ever for someone to feel like they're held down. If someone's coming up under me, I want them to feel like they could go past me. They could, and I don't want to pull on them or make them feel like any type of way. I think we've gotten to where we are because of our work ethic, because of the way we, focus on things like this. And the studio itself, I think there's just so much vision with it. I don't know. It's like there's so much to do that could be done, and I don't know where to start. Like, that's where I'm kind of losing it, is like where it's all so right in front of my face now, and I don't know how to handle it. Like, I don't know what to work on and what to do. And I kind of forgot the initial question here, like where I was going with this. So now I'm kind of off on something else. But what were we specifically?
No, keep going with it, because it's all good. You already answered the question, so everything else is just gravy. Yeah.
I don't know. This it's just been a road, man. Like, it really has. Like, this has been just one long road, and we're here now to where I think Vybe is, like, it's gonna be something, and that's what like I'm trying to wrap my brain around, is I can't let it slip away because I'm in this mode, you know what I mean? I'm in right now, but like at the same time I'm scared. Like, I don't know what to do because there's so much to do. But there's so many good people around me right now that I'm like, this can't fail. Like, there's no way it can fail. There's too many, dedicated people here. It's just crazy to watch, man.
Do you think, sorry to interrupt you, but do you think, you say you don't know what to do. Do you think it's maybe more so not the fact that you don't know what to do, but maybe like this is the first time you've had a team comfortable enough where you don't even really need to know what to do, that maybe you can put some things in the hands of other people and they can handle it for you?
Yep. And that's what I suck at. That's I'll just be like I'm so used to just doing everything, like getting it done. I look at, so much there's so much on the plate for that. Like, but yes, I think now I have to learn, and that's what Joe is telling me, like, you need to learn to hand some of this stuff off. You're always telling me you can do so much, and then you don't, and you fail me. And he's like, I know he's not telling me I'm failing him, but I just try to take on too much, and sometimes I fail in areas because I do that, because I'm like, I want to do this, but I just can't. It's not that I can't because I can't. It's can't because life hits you and things happen, and just doesn't pan out the way you want it. So, being that I have a team, I'm trying to learn to utilize them right. But it's tough too because there's red tape in places, and it's not all fun and games. You can't do exactly what you want to do all the time.
Right.
So it's tough.
That sort of goes back to the discipline that you say, you can't just do everything you want to do. You have to have some discipline to know when, something isn't right, or not to go for this thing, to wait for this thing, or go for something else. You kind of have to have that discipline to be patient with yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Patience is everything. That I've learned that over the years. Is I was always wanting things to happen, and then, with the radio and the opportunities and stuff that I've got, I had to learn to wait. It taught me to wait and be patient, and things will come to you. And that's the good thing too, is that I knew that. Like, I just knew, I felt it, You know, I felt I'm going in the right direction. I'm trying to do the right things. I'm not living a bad life. I'm not lying and cheating and doing all this crazy stuff to feel karma coming my way or anything. Like, I'm actually doing good things, you know? Like, so I would hope at some point something good happens, you know? And I've had people preach that to me for a long time, you know, just wait. People, you know, something's going to happen. And I literally can tell you, what was it now? Maybe 7 months ago, I was going to close the doors to Vybe. Like, I was very, very close and contemplating, like, just, do I want to keep going? COVID hit and things just, you know, it's tough to keep it going the way you want it to go when it's not only feeding you, it's paying the bills and doing all these other things. And, you know, you have to pay the overhead and pay, you know, there was just so much involved in it. And it was just getting to be a lot. So I was like, man, I got to do something. And it took Joe to say, partner up with somebody, do something, step up, dude. I don't know, think about this. Don't just dip out. And I was like, fuck you. But all right, you know, so I thought about it for a couple, you know, good weeks. And then I approached him with a couple things and he approached me with a couple things and then it just worked. And then now we're here. And that's how fast it can happen, you know, for you. If you don't give up and you just sit and you think about stuff and you remember all the hard work you put in. I didn't want to let go of this place. I put in a lot of hard work. I know it wasn't where I wanted it to be, but it was getting there.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I don't know. I think it's, like you said, it's a matter of persistence too. Like, persistence is everything. You got to stay on it. You got to go and go and go and never let up. That's where I'm, like, that was one thing with us right now. We had to hire a social media manager because that's another thing that I have trouble with because I try to do everything. So if I'm over here trying to post and keep up with posts and do, you know, be creative with this and what's online, I'm failing over here with the studio and these guys and what we got to do and the things that we could be doing to make more revenue come in and all this stuff. It's just like, man, so balancing all that is tough. Yeah, you got to learn to, you know, ask for help if you need help. You know, like, if you need help, ask for it.
Right.
Stop being, don't be.
Yeah, quit being stubborn.
Yeah, really. Like, just ask for it. Like, you know, not everybody's entitled to help, but I think if you know you could use some help and, you know, you wouldn't mind some, you should take it.
Yeah.
Put that pride aside a little bit and ask for it. Yeah.
I think so.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, this has been incredible. I feel like we could sit here and talk for hours, but
sure.
we're gonna wind down a little bit. I'm gonna have a little bit of a lightning round. We'll have you promote, and then we'll do the closer. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna try and hit a little bit of everything we've talked about. First question: tell me. I want you to tell me one thing about being a parent that that's helped you learn something about yourself, but also tell me a story that's like kind of sticks out where you're like, oh, I'm a dad now, you know?
Yeah. So I guess, well, the story that sticks out is just when my first was born, like just her coming, like that was it. Like, that's the holy shit, I'm a dad. Like, when it was all cool leading up to it, you know, it's all fun and games. Like, oh yeah, you're pregnant and taking maternity photos and this and that and the other. But then when they're there and they're breathing and they're crying and they're right in front of you and oh my God, like I'm a dad. Like, you know, you got this person to teach things and do all, you know, just I'm a dad. Like, yeah. So what was the first question, though?
The first question was something about being a dad that sort of made you learn something about yourself. So I guess the better way of asking is, what's a thing you've learned about yourself from being a dad?
Is that I have patience. That's what I would say I learned. Like, I didn't think I had patience. Like, I feel like I do. You know, I feel like I got some decent patience. But being a dad taught me that I have patience.
Yeah.
You know, like... Because there's been some times, you know, when it's tested my patience, but I was able to just, you know, be a little
do the thing,
woosah, you know. So
Tell me, I mean, you kind of already shared a pretty interesting story about being in music while you like in a moment like while you were recording music.
What about
yeah,
what
yeah.
about tackle
But-
that, but with being instead of it being music, but go into his videography side?
Well, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to step into
Okay.
how we've been doing it. Not
All
to
right,
just
my
totally.
bad, my
no,
bad.
I know. I'm being controlling. I understand. Tell me, okay, give me. Well, I guess one thing I'm interested in. Were you able to meet Bieber when you opened for him? Is he a cool guy?
Yeah, he was younger
seems-
then.
He
Like
seems
when I
like
did,
he'd be very cool, but
he was very cool, very
Yeah.
cool. But he actually was younger then to where I didn't even know it was him. Like when I walked up to him, I overlooked him. I was just like, everyone around him was screaming and I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And I look over and it's him, but he's got, back then he had his longer hair, a little bit longer of hair, and he had these little iPods in, and he was just sitting there vibing out. And I was just like, that's him? That like he looked like me. Like he's like as big as I am. He's like, what the heck, man? Like, and he's way younger than me, obviously. And
Right.
so I was just like, this is who I'm opening for. Like
Right.
at the time, that was one thing that I was gonna say is that I used to put myself on people's level. Like that was one thing I did do when I was in the mix. Like people used to be like, well, you're a local artist. I'm not a local artist. Like I'm an artist. That's why I used to get pissed when people say I'm a local artist.
Right.
I'm not a local artist, I'm an artist. I'm just as good as Drake, just not as many people know me. Like, you know what I mean? Like if as many people knew me, that's what I used to do. Like I used to put myself on that level. Like why you keep comparing me to Drake like I'm a wannabe Drake? Why I just sound like the guy. I was actually before Drake. If I would have blew up before Drake, I would be on and Drake would be off. Like what do you want me to say? Like
Right.
so like, things like that. I don't know. It's just I think the music to me has just been like a light, like it's just guided me through life almost. Like it's just taught me so many lessons, like for life itself.
Yeah.
Just the things that I've gone through and stuff. But
You got to tell us the time that you met T-Pain.
oh yeah, I'd love to hear
oh
that.
man, he's a dick. That guy's a dick. T-Pain, you're a dick. I'll say that. Like I'm not even scared. Like
Yeah, I'd
he's a
love to.
big
Yeah,
guy,
tell
like,
me everything. I'd
but
love to hear it.
It was quick. Like it was actually I was filming for SNX. It was Party in the Park, I think, and T-Pain was the headliner, and I was backstage, and usually like I'm very smart when it comes to meeting celebrities, and I don't get starstruck. I don't act no type of way or nothing. I did for Mike Epps weirdly. Just because Mike Epps is like Mike Epps, and I was
see
like,
that.
dude, you're Mike Epps. Like, what the hell, man? Like,
Yeah.
I just laughed at you my whole life. But no, T-Pain, I was backstage, and I think, his security guard had come up, and I was standing there with the camera, and I had it on, and I was just kind of filming stuff backstage, just getting B-roll. And then I pointed it at him, and he kind of looked at the camera and like did a weird immature dip out move, which I have on camera.
Yeah.
Like I like it was really weird, but he like dipped out like he was hiding from the camera and like moved like 10 inches. And I was like, okay, you could have just said, don't film me or something, or like, hey man, can you not, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that was such a childish move.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just thought he was a dick because of that. Like I was just like, no one's ever done some weird thing like that. I don't know if he was just in a mood or what, or what it was. He didn't want another camera on him or something.
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, he
Yeah.
didn't even look like he was like pissed off or anything. He was just like like creeped out almost.
yeah, it's like, why
Yeah.
are you creeped out? You made me feel creepy for pointing a camera at you backstage at a public event.
Yeah.
like
Interesting.
Why'd you make me feel like that? Like, so I just have this thing for T-Pain now. Like, and I used to love T-Pain growing up. Like, that was my guy, man. Like, so then to meet him or to be face to face with him and have him do some weird shit, I was just like, literally lost all my respect right there. Like, went from 100 to 0, just like that. Like, you suck. But yeah, that was that.
So, I guess, well, you kind of answered it. My next question was going to be what's something that music has helped you learn about yourself, but it kind of seems like you answered that a little bit in there. So I guess we'll move on to the next thing with, you said something about Vybe Studio where you were trying to figure out what you wanted it to be. What do you think, short term and long term, what do you want to see Vybe Studios become?
Vybe Studios is a hub. Like, I look at it as like the headquarters of Vybe, right? So we're small right now, but my big goal is to be a one-stop shop for artists. Like, I want to one day have a building like this. Like, right now we're a miniature version of what I want to be. When you walk into Vybe, you see the studio side, the music studio side, and you see the photography side, videography side. So it's all kind of in one. If you need a video, we could talk about a video. We could sit down and chat about it. We could go over here and shoot it. We could come over. If you need a song, we could go and record the song first. You know, like, there's a whole process to it, but you could do everything here. And that's kind of what I want to do, but I want to expand on that idea. So I want to have a bigger building. I want music to be in one wing of the building. I want photography, videography to be in one wing of the building. Down the hall, I want there to be a barber shop and a hairdresser and a makeup artist, and, you know, things that all relate to this industry, so that they're all in one. And that's what I want Vybe to be, is just a hub for that, right? So then Vybe can cover its overhead by that, you know, like just by the studio itself, just by people using the studio, being at the studio, things like that. That's just the headquarters, and like, my big dream is to have this in other cities, you know, so that we can duplicate Vybe Studios in a city. That's your hub for everything you need music, videos, photo, anything media wise, you know what I mean? Right, and then my partner is taking Vybe to the next level from that. So from Vybe Studios is just, like I said, like the headquarters. That's the actual entity. That's Vybe Studios. Now, Vybe is the name. Vybe will turn into Vybe Records. We want to start a record company. We do have a really good idea to change the face of the record game. Like, I can't go too into that, but there's definitely a good idea there. But so a record company, promotion company. We want to start our own event space. You know, like have our own concert venue. We want to have a. Did I say promotions? Yeah, promotions. You know, there's a few things that Vybe is just going to be a part. Weddings, you know, we want to do our own weddings. We want to do certain things like that are kind of branching off of
some sort of multiple, like, entertainment conglomerate type thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything to do with music and this industry, like, we want to be a part of it. So we're going to branch off as much as we possibly can, but to the things that we know we would be good at. So that's like the later on, the big picture goals, you know, is to start that. So I think Vybe can get there. It's just,
we just have to build our roots first, and then we can branch out.
Yep. That's just it. You make the one city, you know, work first and show how fluent it can be. And it could be a hub for pretty much anybody here in the city. And you take it to Chicago, you take it to Detroit, you take it to a bigger city, and then you test it, you know, and then you say, okay, I'm going to buy a warehouse and do it a little bigger. And so that's kind of like my vision for it, you know. I think obviously more video guys doing certain things, like a team for music videos, a team for this, a team for that, and just, you know, more structured out. But again, that comes as we go. So
right. Well, I mean, just in this interaction that I've had with you, it feels like I honestly think you could do anything. Really,
I appreciate it, man.
Like,
I appreciate it.
And I mean, I know we've been talking, an hour and a half now, and I know you hate when I do that, sorry.
You're good.
But I mean, like I said, it just feels like to me, like you explaining this to me, I'm like, oh, yeah, that seems like you'd have no problem doing it. You know?
No, I appreciate it.
Okay, so I have 3 more questions for you. This one's a little bit sillier. It's a little more fun. So I want you're going to plan your headlining gig, right? You get to pick the venue, 3 other artists to perform with you, but they have to be artists that you've worked with in some capacity in some way. So your headline gig, where are you playing, and who are the 3 openers?
Does the venue have to be somewhere, like that can be anywhere?
Yeah, that can be your dream venue, I guess.
Madison Square Gardens.
Okay. I like where you're going.
And
cool.
And I'd say, yeah, Madison Square Garden for sure. And then artists would probably be, damn, man. Kid Ink. I've just always liked, I don't know if you know who Kid Ink is. Kid
It sounds really familiar.
He's a
Like
hip-hop
I've heard
artist.
that before, yeah.
Damn, man. Well, you have to have a DJ at a show, right? So my DJ would be Pauly D, definitely.
There you go.
Nice.
That's, yeah. And then, shoot, who would my other person be? It's funny that I'm gonna name a country artist just because he's cool as hell. Like I would do a song with Jimmy Allen. I don't know if you know who Jimmy Allen is. He's like one of the biggest country stars out right now. But he's just a cool ass person. Like so, just meeting him and doing that would definitely be my three. Like for sure.
Right on.
Yeah.
Forgive me because I think you only said his name once, but Ricky, right?
Yeah.
Do you think if he could see you now, what do you think he'd say? Do you think he'd be proud of you?
Oh yeah, he would definitely. Yeah, he'd be. I'm a big numbers guy. I not numbers guy by any means. Like no, not in that aspect of things. But I need to be. Don't get me wrong, I need to be, but I am not. Numbers as in angel numbers. I don't know if you guys are familiar with angel numbers, but like it took him passing away for my mind to open to things like this, because like for the longest I just questioned why or like how or the things you go through, in that situation. But like, I don't know, to me, it was just a big life lesson. And I think yeah, I'm gonna stop there. I'm not gonna go no further on that one.
Yeah,
I just like I'll start getting all weird, like
good.
emotional,
Yeah,
weird. So like,
Yeah.
But he would be proud. He would definitely be proud. He would stand next to me with everything he's got, too here right now. So I know like watching down on me, I'll just say lightly, like angel numbers are just numbers you see. You just start to see numbers. Like I don't know if you've ever seen like 9/11 pop up all the time. Like you just keep catching it, right? Like you
or like that movie 32.
Yeah, same shit.
Yeah.
So it's like you just keep seeing numbers, and so after a while, I started looking those numbers up, and I would see that like they mean something. Like a certain number will mean something.
Gotcha.
Like 1111 will mean certain things if you look up angel numbers. Well, I kept catching 1010, which is his birthday. So like after he passed, it was just this thing that all of a sudden I kept seeing 1010 and 1010 and 10, and it never registered why it was 1010. And then I thought, holy shit, that's his birthday. Like so I feel like he's there. Like I don't know. I'm a big believer in energies and things like that. So like I feel like he's still here, like he tells me that by sending me that. Like when something's good's happening, or like I'm doing something positive or progressive, or I'm even like working and I get something done and it's done, I'll catch that shit and it'll be like 10-10. And I feel like that's him being like, good shit, keep going. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's crazy to think that, but like, I believe that shit. Like,
hell yeah, dude,
it's
that's
crazy.
awesome.
That's beautiful. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, so I got one more in the lightning round. I'm glad I waited to ask you this one until after that one, because I had a feeling that one might get a little bit intense or maybe like a little emotional. But I see you're wearing the hat. Are you a Bulls fan?
Nope, not at all. I love their logo and I love their colors.
Fair
but
enough.
I mean, I love the Bulls, I guess.
Yeah.
But like when Michael Jordan was playing.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get you. I'm just a big NBA fan, so any chance I can talk about it, I'm like, I'm going to try and take advantage of it, because I hardly have any friends who are interested in the
It's funny because
NBA.
I'm not I used to love sports. That was like my everything when I was young. But growing up, getting into music and stuff, I forgot about sports. Like I love sports. Who doesn't? But
yeah.
I mean, you can catch me telling you who just won the Super Bowl or who. I mean, now you could just because it was fucking Stafford, but not any before this. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'd watch it. Like I'd be like, hell yeah! Like who's playing? I'd get there and be like, who the fuck is playing? I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's I love sports. It kind of hurts me inside as a man to not know some of this shit that goes on. My dad be like, how can you not keep up with a fantasy football team? I add you to this and you just don't do it, and why am I even here with you? Like, why do I do this? Like, I don't know. I quit, all right? There, get rid of my team.
Nice. Right on. Well, hell yeah, dude. Thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me,
Yeah.
man.
So we. Oh, I almost forgot.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you'd like to promote? Where can people find out info about Vybe and hear your music?
Vybegr.com. VYBEGR.com. Yeah, just go there. We got all the information. Everything's pretty much still under construction. I mean, the website's up and running and functioning great. It works. You could find what you want to find on there. It's just a matter of how you find it on there. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot to find. There's just a lot of different information, a lot of services we offer. So take your time, go through it if you do go to it.
We're getting ready to implement a wedding section onto the website.
Yep, a fresh wedding section. That'll be cool. So we'll have some nice packages and stuff out for brides, and I know that's the booking season's coming up for weddings. So, but yeah, man, vybegr.com. That's the hot spot. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on all the socials. Yeah, not too much other than that, though.
Hell yeah. Well, cool. Thank you again. We close the show out. The guest just gives themselves some advice. So when you listen to this in the future, you'll always have it there. So we'll close out with you giving future Bobby some advice.
All right, future Bobby. Quit being so damn hard on yourself. That's it. Just quit. That's it. Just quit.
Hell
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, well, thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.